This is Timofey. Timofey is the trainer of cosmonauts and astronauts from all over the world. They go to him to be trained to go into space. He's amazing. He's also a musician. He's got little children. He lives in a dome house community, and he is going to tell us now. He's going to give a 45 minutes. I don't know what he's going to say. No?
Unfortunately, we're at the point now where we have to take a break at 2:50. So Timofey, I'm sorry, but we kind of had to extend things since we couldn't get you in. So we have about 33 minutes.
You can do it.
If you can sort of go through things, the really critical things, and I really appreciate that. I'm sorry we've had these technical difficulties, but so we have about 33 minutes.
We blame it on the Russians. We blame everything on the
Okay.
Russians, but it's okay, Timofey.
So
Go ahead.
thank you, Timofey, and it's very good to see you here. And
So
I really welcome your involvement. And this is a very courageous guy that I've gotten to know through Zoom in the last few months. And the work he's doing is really important for the world. And I want to thank you. So go ahead, Timofey. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Greer. Hello, everyone who's watching us. Hello, Dr. Greer and all people in the house. My name is Timofey Egorov. I am the trainer of cosmonauts at the Gagarin Cosmonauts Training Center, Star City, Russia. Also, I am the general director of the Association Ecology of the Unknown, which is a non-governmental organization, the largest one and the most recognized official organization in Russia, dealing with the unknown phenomena of nature, cosmos, and human abilities. UFOs in that number, of course. Now I'm going to briefly tell you about the association so you can understand where it all comes from. The Association Ecology of the Unknown was established to unite efforts and coordinate actions of individuals and legal entities that conduct scientific research, contributing to the evolution of mankind in the field of studying of the unknown phenomena of nature, cosmos, and human abilities, in order to further take them into account and deploy them in practical work, including in preparation to the adoption of important state and international decisions. So that's what we need to understand. Now I'm going to present and talk about a few cases that our experts were dealing with, the most famous UFO sightings in Russia. And please know that we have a lot of people that we're working with, among them military men, PhD candidates, a lot of different experts in different fields. And we have some connections in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russian Federation and other significant organizations in Russia whose employees are also part of our team. So today I'm speaking on behalf of all these people. And now I'm going to present you something. So will you please show the picture on case 1? Okay, so can you see it, the whole? Oh yes, now I can see it. This is the Petrozavodsk phenomenon. It was 1977. A large, bright, jellyfish-like object appeared in the sky of Petrozavodsk, Russia, in Karelia. It was also simultaneously seen in a number of other cities of Russia and Finland. The phenomenon was observed by a large number of eyewitnesses. Some made sketches, some saw it through a telescope, some took pictures of it. The object burned holes in the windows of the houses of Petrozavodsk, with the jets coming out of it. As you can see, the jets are coming out of it. But not a single living being was harmed. So this is another picture. And now please show the burned holes in the windows. Yes. Next one. Next one. Next one. As you see, the holes are burned through. The glass didn't fall apart. Next one. Next. These are some articles from Russian newspapers back in the day in 1977. Reports about the phenomenon with pictures were published both in the local and in central press, which gave the Soviet public a reason to study the unexplained phenomena. Even Brezhnev was also read into this. Initially, the phenomenon was explained as a natural phenomenon, but later they begin to tell that it appeared as the result of the launch of a satellite and an unsuccessful launch of a ballistic missile conducted nearby at about the same time. But one of our experts, General Sitnov, the video of which you have been just watching before I connected, who was later the armaments chief of the USSR and was officially in charge of collecting the UFO data, told us that he received reports that the object was 300 meters in diameter and was moving like this from north to south of Russia. As you know, Russia is a big country, in no time. And they saw the object on radars. So that's definitely not something of this world. Okay, let's go to case number 2. The case number 2 is the Dalnegorsk phenomenon. Yes, show the picture with the mountain. Yes. The January 29, 1986, near the village of Dalnegorsk in Russia, a UFO was observed in the form of a bright, self-luminous ball. It crashed in the mountains. So this is a sketch of what eyewitnesses saw. There's no actual photo of this event, but at the crash site, some objects were retrieved. Here they are. Let me talk about them a little bit. The objects were examined in the laboratory by chemists and other experts. Instances of iron balls had a very high degree of hardness. They could not be cut with steel tools, and they could only be cut with a diamond. According to experts, the composition of the balls included almost the entire periodic table. And here at the right, you can see a little mesh. This is a very curious mesh. In one of the samples of the mesh, they found fragments of the thinnest 17 microns threads, which in turn consisted of even thinner fibers twisted into bundles. Those appeared to be very thin golden wires. Experts conclude that such a technology is impossible even at the current level of technology development. And what is interesting about this, they've put a monument like this, and many people came to this place to visit and to examine it as well. Okay, let's go to case number 3. This is a table which is put there. It said that on January 29, 1986, a UFO crashed here. Dvuzhilny Valery Viktorovich, an eminent Russian ufologist, was the first to examine the crash site. That's what is written here in Russian. Okay, let's go to case number 3. The case number 3 was a landing of a flying saucer, and there were 3 boys playing at the place, which were separately debriefed, and their testimonies matched. So that's the drawings that an artist draw according to their testimonies. This is the object that they saw. These are 3 extraterrestrials that came out of the vehicle and communicated with them. Again, no one was harmed, but after that event, Voronezh, the city where it took place, became very famous, and there were people from different countries which even made some documentaries on this event. Okay, let's go to case number 4. Here's the boy, the witness. Okay, another photo. Okay, this is the landing site. And the last one. Here's a video that took our Russian cosmonaut Ivan Wagner in 2020. He was filming Northern Lights over Antarctica. So watch somewhere in the middle of the screen to the left, you will see 5 objects in a row. So this, okay, and there will be another piece. Let's watch on. This is the Northern Lights. It's a zoom in. You see one object flying, and at the top of the screen and in the middle, you'll see 5 objects. They're going in a row. And there will be 2 more. This is, again, the same. And there will be 2 more. Right here. Following those 5, 2 more. And 1 more. So he reported this to the chief of Roscosmos, but no comments followed still. Okay, after we have briefly viewed this 4 cases of, as Dr. Greer uses to say, evidence, I'd like you to watch, to take one step higher and watch the video of one of our best expert. He's the president of the Association Ecology of the Unknown. And he will talk about what we can do with this evidence depending on our level of morality and ethics. It depends on you. Let's view the video. Let's watch it.
Hello, my friends. Please excuse me, but to save time, I will read the text. Every word in it has its meaning. I am Alexander Semyonov, president of the Association Ecology of the Unknown, which has been operating for more than 30 years. I am also a professor and a presidium member of the Academy of Geopolitical Problems. For 45 years, I have been in the field of studying of the so-called anomalous phenomena, including the UFO phenomenon. I personally know almost all scientists and specialists and researchers who created the foundations of Russian ufology and have made their contribution to the ufology worldwide. For about 15 years, while working in the group of the Soviet pioneer of ufology, Felix Yurievich Ziegel, I, just like the most researchers, believed that the more observational data about UFOs is there, and the more reliable the witnesses of their appearance are, the sooner the state authorities will stop covering up and classifying information about them. The faster the full-scale scientific study of the phenomenon will begin, and the media will stop relegating its study to the level of simple curiosity. And that's when we will finally know the nature of the UFO phenomenon, probably related to its extraterrestrial origin. I, as well as numerous Russian and foreign researchers, hoped that the official scientific recognition of UFOs will encourage the advancement of humanity into the universe, will facilitate contact with the brothers in consciousness, as well as it will expand our knowledge of the world. But that didn't happen. Moreover, the official scientific world resolutely distanced itself from the consideration of the problem, marking it as pseudo-scientific. State structures have taken a vow of silence, and the media continued to cover the problem in a superficial, vulgar way. And this is despite the fact that over decades, hundreds of serious informal associations in many countries of the world gathered arrays of thousands, hundreds of thousands of cases of UFO sightings. In addition, they periodically began to feed the public with declassified, though smeared, archives of UFO sightings, the collection of which has long been conducted in a closed mode by some government agencies in a number of countries. However, the methods of mathematical statistics, correlative and regression analyses more than 30 years ago allowed to identify several features of the UFO phenomenon that objectively talk about a set of properties inherent only to it, the same for different regions of the world. However, based on all the accumulated archives and investigations conducted, it is still impossible to say anything unambiguously certain about the nature of UFOs in scientific terms, except for one thing: the phenomenon objectively exists. The question is not about the reality of the existence and presence of the UFO phenomenon on Earth. It's about how we, humanity, should respond to it correctly. UFOs are associated with the activities of extraterrestrial civilizations. This is the most obvious version. Clarifying considerations is not so important right now. Whether UFOs are messengers from other planets or from other space-time dimensions, other worlds, frequencies, it doesn't matter. It seems that it would be more correct now to refer to them as the otherworlders. From the UFO archives, it follows that there are several otherworld civilizations. The description of the type and properties of their representatives has essentially a literary tone to it. But it is important that these descriptions, based on the so-called contact stories, have one thing in common. Among the otherworlders, there is no one who would relate to us in a hostile or aggressive manner. There are descriptions of an indifferent attitude to people. There is neutral, there is good attitude, but there is no hostile or aggressive one. And for all the time of communication with the otherworlders, of the most different contactees, there were no cases of presentation to Earth civilization of any ultimatum requirements, terms. Not a single bit of hostility or aggressiveness was shown by the otherworlders. There is also no recorded case of intentional, purposeful infliction of harm to people by otherworlders. Cases of UFO impact on the equipment took place most often as a response to the actions of people. In 1977, the 33rd UN General Assembly considered a QFON memorandum on these impacts. But in the future, with an objective study of such cases, it became clear that the injured witnesses, often military, unknowingly found themselves in the zones of action of force and other fields inherent in UFOs and unwittingly violated the unknown to Earthlings safety rules for contacts with UFOs. UFOs have not provoked a single military conflict. Their presence near military or secret facilities has the nature of supervision, but does not indicate in any way that their intentions are dangerous for personnel and equipment. There were cases when namely the presence of UFOs in the areas of basing of strategic strike systems zeroed out the probability of combat launches of nuclear missiles. We should also not forget that any peculiarities of the behavior of other subjects, for example animals, we humans perceive only through the prism of our own established views, beliefs and inclinations, including those of aggressiveness, hostility, evil, good, fear, etc. There is no reason to believe that UFOs and representatives of extraterrestrial civilizations are hostile or aggressive in relation to the Earthlings. Manifestations of the UFO phenomenon are exclusively peaceful in nature. So here we are. The UFO phenomenon that was not taken seriously for 70 years, that has not become an important subject of study of the world science, the phenomenon which they abused for filming thrillers about bad aliens, now turned out to be in demand, moreover, at the official level of US Congress. It can be employed when playing, according to the expression of Werner von Braun, of the last card, that is, for implementation of the fourth stage of coming to the New World Order. According to the major spending bill signed by the President of the United States on December 27, 2020, the Minister of Defense and the Director of National Intelligence have to report until June 2021 to the Committees of Congress on Intelligence and Armed Forces what their agencies know about UFOs. The Pentagon must provide a report on unidentified aerial objects and phenomena, which should contain a detailed analysis of UFO data collected by the Department of Navy Intelligence, by the Task Force on Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, and the FBI. The Pentagon must identify any potential threats to national security emanating from UFOs and assess whether China or Russia could be behind such activities. The report must be public, but it may contain secret data. Such formulation of the President's instructions makes the following steps possible. US military and intelligence services confirm the presence of a whole spectrum of identified potential threats from UFOs. After all, for many decades, taxpayers' money from the US budget was spent to finance the ongoing, unacknowledged special access projects. World mass media starts a massive brainwashing of the population of the planet. A simulation of an alien invasion takes place. UFOs are declared enemies of humanity. US military-industrial complex receives contracts for the development and production of new weapon systems to compensate for UFO threats. Allies countries join the US defense program, providing their financial, technical, military, territorial resources, raw materials, political and other resources. Russia, China and other non-aligned countries are declared traitors to humanity. Against them, strict political, economic, informational, military space and other sanctions are introduced. A global operational headquarters is created for the reflection of UFO threats. A sole commander of the planet is elected. The role of the UN is being reviewed and virtually reset. The authority is exercised by the managers of the deep state. For serving the elite, a moderately well-fed computer concentration camp is created out of the population. The launch of weapon systems into space begins. Activities of the most nations of the planet are controlled under the threat of the use of weapons from outer space. The probability of a global military conflict reaches its limit. What does the UFO phenomenon have to do with all this? Absolutely nothing. They just needed a convenient excuse. And now, the most important thing. In the Soviet Union, there has been started and then continued and modernized the methodology for making contact with representatives of, let's say, supreme intelligent powers of the cosmos. The task was set to achieve bilateral, meaningful communication with them. The goal was not to get some momentary situational hints or new technologies, but to gain knowledge of the cornerstones, fundamental laws of the universe, about the main principles on which the cosmos is built. The ideological and scientific basis for setting this goal were the researches of the great thinkers, Russian cosmists of the 19th and 20th centuries, such as Berdyaev, Tsiolkovsky, Vernadsky, Chizhevsky, Kozyrev, Kazanachev, and others. The goal was achieved. Among the many topics raised during this communication was the question of the possibility of putting into the space environment of a so familiar to Earthlings attribute like weapons. The answer was immediate. It was strict, absolutely unambiguous, not allowing any double interpretations. It is unacceptable to bring any weapons into space. You can never, under no circumstances or conditions, do this. If any means of influence, weapon system, intended for causing harm or death to any object or subject will be placed in any area of outer space, then, in accordance with the fundamental principles of maintaining a harmonious world order, there will instantly be engaged the mechanism of elimination of not only this area, but also of a much larger volume of space. Thus, the universe, with maximum reliability, gets rid of its single, malignant, so to speak, cell of its boundlessly great organism. If people ever place weapons in near-Earth space, it will inevitably cease to exist not just planet Earth, but also the entire solar system. I can't stress this enough, that both Soviet and Russian leadership has been consistent for decades, back in the day and now, firmly defending the principles of exclusively peaceful exploration of outer space. Peaceful people of planet Earth. There are significantly more of us than a handful of those who want to establish a cosmic dictatorship on Earth. Be vigilant, demand an absolute ban of the placement of weapons in outer space. Thank you.
That was my first viewing of that. That came in about, what are we doing here? I came in about midnight last night, and this is my first viewing of it. He's a very courageous man.
Here's
to say
Timofey to
that.
say
Hey,
his last
Timofey.
words.
So if you want to say a few more things.
Yes, I have 4 minutes more, so I'm going to say something more. Okay? Okay, so after all that has just been said by Alexander Semyonov, I want together with you to look into the future and see what we, the people, can do. So there are 3 options. One, how the situation can develop. One, an extraterrestrial ship lands on the lawn of the White House. The ambassadors of the other world come out of their ship, and the people get a proposal from them to initiate and maintain a peaceful contact. So this is very unlikely to happen because extraterrestrials know, see, and understand that humanity has an extremely low level of morality, of ethics, and such an event can cause an inappropriate reaction of people. Second, the initiative group that promotes the idea of exclusively peaceful exploration of space, that's being us, manages to reach out to the leaders of their states, officials in high positions, so in other words, decision makers. This outcome is still more likely than the described in paragraph 1. But as you may well know, such people who are in high positions and have access to big money and big power are often more, have more, let's say, various human vices, and they have they are highly unlikely that they are going to change fast, and we need it fast. And the third option is that we, peaceful inhabitants of the earth, willing and ready to change for the better, unite our desires, our efforts and aspirations in an international social movement, the goals and objectives of which are simple and understandable to every person on earth. And we in Russia have already started such a social movement. We named it the ethics of the cosmos, because ethics is a set of universal laws which one have to follow to be able to evolve and travel throughout the universe. That is, by the way, the reason why there are no hostile extraterrestrials, because you have to have a certain level of ethics before you will learn the transdimensional physics and you can travel to other worlds. Otherwise, you can bring harm to people. So, and we invite everyone to join this movement. We can discuss the details. If you're willing to do this, if you want to have more information, you can check our website. And before I finish, I would like to show you one more last picture of my presentation, which I personally call the hardest evidence of the fact that we are not alone in the universe. The picture is named Hubble Legacy Field. Okay, what you see here in this picture is what the Hubble telescope sees on a tiny piece of the sky, about a moon size, if you look from the surface of the Earth. By the way, these are not stars. These are galaxies. 265,000 of them in this little piece of the sky, each containing billions of stars, each star possibly having a planetary system very much like our solar system, where life could emerge just like on our planet here under the sun. And you can also see this picture in detail at the Hubble website. But someday you just go under the stars, raise your head up, see the magnificent, beautiful, and living universe. And don't you tell me that you feel alone, because we're not alone. There are many other civilizations out there, and they're waiting for us to join them in peace. So people of the world, let's put ourselves together, change this world for the better and enter this bright future, this new world that together we can take.
Thank you. I
Thank
really appreciate it. Thank you, Timofey, and I know it's very late in Moscow. On behalf of all of us and the 20th anniversary of the Disclosure Project, I want to please extend a thank you to all those who made videos for us and how much we appreciate their coming forward. It takes a lot of courage for these sorts of generals and other people to say what they have said, and we honor their courage. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you as
Thank you,
well,
Timothy.
Dr. Greer. Hello, Carol.
Hello, Timofey.
So if we want to have like one more minute, if you want to wrap up, and then we're going to show a little.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning for them.
We're going to show a little video that's a sort of a celebratory video of our 20 years, but just in 1 moment, because we're running out of
Just
time.
real quickly, I'm sorry we didn't get to see all of the videos, but we will post them on peaceandspace.com. Again, go down the introduction and you will see Timofey's website link. He also is chairing the Ethics of the Cosmos project that we can all join in with and you can learn from, because they're going to be providing a lot of information. Again, there's 700 videos or so that you've posted on that website about the Ziegel's readings, a lot of these speakers. We didn't get to see Valentina, but you'll see her. She's a psychoanalyst, a psychologist who chairs that Center for Transdimensional of consciousness, the transformation of consciousness. Very important. And she was taken into the woods as part of an 8-people selection from the government to meet 2 extraterrestrial beings. So she is on the website now. You'll see her. And sorry, we didn't get to see her in person right now on the video. But these are amazing people. As Stephen said, they're so courageous, just like you, because you're going to be going out with the Ethics of the Cosmos kind of conversation now. You see the Russian position. You just heard it from Professor Simonov. Wow. I mean, this is the Russian position now. They're calling for the treaty to prevent the placement of weapons in outer space. Read it. You'll learn about that too. And please go out and promote it. So thank you all for being participants in all of this and what you're about to do. Go for it.
Thank you.